Having autism isn't always easy. In fact, if I'm being honest, everyday life can be so hard. Can you imagine not knowing what another person might be thinking? Not being able to figure out what comes next? What would you say to people? How would you communicate with them? How would you behave around them? Would you even know? Would you even try? Would you shut down or would you melt down? Some children with autism are accused of being badly behaved, but we think it's just a reaction to fear. Fear of the unknown, fear of what might happen, fear of what might not happen, fear of getting it all wrong, and fear of the environment around them. But when people with autism are given the right support and you take the time to understand, accept and value them, that changes everything. Thank you for joining us in our world.
Hi, my name is Greg. I'm 26 years old. The problems I had due to my Asperger was the speed of my handling, which I could only do slowly. And because of this, the teachers had to write for me, so I was up to the same speed as all the other students in my class. Sometimes when I was writing, I couldn't process what I was going to write, and I therefore hardly put pen to paper. Another thing I struggled with was tying my shoelace, which I could not do correctly because I didn't have good coordination. I tied them too tight and could not get them off again. But now I can do these things without any problems at all, along with travelling independently to R.E.A.C.H with these guys sitting next to me, and to the Holiday Inn Express, which is my place of work, being a guest service assistant.
Yes. Hi, I'm John. Many people with autism have special interests, sometimes from a young age. These interests can change. If you came to the last show, you will know my interest was Coronation Street, but now it's just anything. And I love Star Wars and dogs, they are so friendly. I wish life was easier when I was younger. When I was in school and nursery, I struggled with making friends and, what does that say? Routine and like moving from one thing to the other. One of my challenges is understanding and talking about my struggles. I just don't like it. I could talk all day about Star Wars or dogs or anything else. I went to Glenburn School and got lots of opportunities like York, Paris. I travel alone. I go to college. And now I have lots of friends.
I was very quiet when I was a child. I felt uncomfortable wanting to do group work and would often ask to work alone. If I was struggling with my classwork, I would be too afraid to ask for help. I would sit in a room by myself at school breaks just to feel safe. I didn't like PE activities, but not because I was lazy, but because I was scared. Scared of working with others, and my coordination didn't help much either. I hated my time in school. I had no friends and felt alone. I was also bullied a lot. People would still laugh at me and annoy me after school and during weekends. I was also bullied on social media and police had to get involved. By the time I was 14 years old, I had started to self-harm. This is what forced a diagnosis upon me. This is shocking, I believe, that something so drastic had to happen before a diagnosis was made. In employment, I had to leave every job I tried because the staff would give me a lot of information all at the one time and I was forced to multitask. Now it's 2017 and I live independently. I managed to do all of my own cooking from scratch. I have a paid job working with Values Interaction Scotland, giving autism awareness sessions to employers. I have been volunteering here at R.E.A.C.H for Autism for the past 3 years. I volunteer by giving training sessions to schools, nurseries and to the emergency services. Just like this play that you have all just watched, I love my work that I do. I am also a member of the Vibes Choir, where we go to events to sing, and we were at the Children's Sick Hospital in Glasgow to put a smile on all of the young children's faces who were sick and living in the wards. 2 years ago, I achieved my NC in Travel and Tourism at college in Glasgow, and I was able to use public transport to travel to Glasgow every day. I am Jade, and I am 21 years old. My Asperger's syndrome is simply just 2 words on a piece of paper. It does not define me, nor does it control me. Yes, I have a disability and have experienced many struggles in the past, but I am still a person and still have feelings, just like you all do that are here tonight. Thank you for listening.
When I was my name's Kieran, I'm 17. When I was a young girl, I really struggled, especially in school. I couldn't cope with the noise, the people, the smells, everything. I was miserable when I came home from school every day because the environment was so overwhelming and I had no friends. I never thought I was going to do well. I didn't think I was going to pass my National 5 exams. I really resented my autism, and I asked myself, why did I have to be different, to be the weirdo? But now I can stand here and say that I'm a completely different person from what I used to be. I moved schools, and I'm now in 6th year sitting an advanced higher and 2 higher courses. I'm participating in Duke of Edinburgh at gold level, and I'm going to Rwanda in the summer with my school. And I can happily say that I received an unconditional offer to university, so I can now study what I love. And the best part is that I can sit here with my friends and present this to you.
This is Alana. Alana's 23 years old and might not seen her yet on the stage. Alana does a lot of the stuff backstage, from writing the scripts to the voiceovers, which has all been her work. As a child, I never had a diagnosis. Everyone simply thought I was just shy. Because of this, I was bullied a lot by my peers and never felt comfortable being around others my age. Eventually, the stress of it all became too much to cope with, and I had to leave. Employment was also hard to deal with. Everything I tried always resulted in me having to quit or being let go because I simply wasn't able to cope with all aspects of the workplace. After being diagnosed at 19, my life has changed drastically. I was able to truly understand myself and why I felt so different all those years. I now spend my time with R.E.A.C.H for Autism, who have helped me meet amazing friends I still have to this day. And I help others with autism through presentations and YouTube, which has over 10,000 views. Since my last show, my goal was to live independently. I'm now so proud to say that I recently purchased my own first home with my fiance, and we have a lovely pet bunny named Beerus. I now plan to spread the word of autism to everyone and to help others with autism to become more independent also.
I'm Martin, I'm currently 24 years old, and though I was supposed to get my diagnosis of Asperger's syndrome at a younger age, I actually didn't get it until I was halfway through high school, where it only happened because due to me getting bullied quite a lot off of both teachers and other students. There was a lot of misunderstanding going on. So my parents took me to a psychiatrist when I was younger though, and the psychiatrist said that I was far too young at the time for them to tell whether I would have Asperger's or not. So that's why it was left until I was older. My parents were both very unhappy about that because to them it meant that I had to go the whole way through primary school and halfway into high school without the right kind of support or help that I might have needed or benefited from. After high school, I went on to do a media course in college, local college, and then I also did 2 years of an animation course. But it wasn't until I did a drama course on Paisley the year after that that I found my true calling in life, that I like to perform and entertain people. And it's helped encourage me to, be able to sit here in front of you and talk to you today. So after I did that drama course at college, I went on to do Waterloo Road. I became an extra for TV series. I did Waterloo Road and River City and Outlander and many other different series. And I've been coming to the R.E.A.C.H group now for about 2 years, and that's also helped me to boost my confidence because apart from my Asperger's and autism, I've also struggled a great deal with social anxiety, paranoia, and even clinical depression. So being part of the R.E.A.C.H group's been a huge help with that. It's really helped me to come out of my shell. I've made a lot of great friends through the R.E.A.C.H group and through other groups I've met with through the R.E.A.C.H group. And both people with Asperger's and autism and people without it. And I can honestly say that by being a part of the R.E.A.C.H group, it's helped me to be able to hold my head high and walk with more of a skip in my stride.
Time for some question and answer, so
I love questions. So.
Yes? Are there any strengths to having autism?
Yes. I kind of one that I think a couple of us at least definitely in this group have is our attention to detail, and in particularly when it's something that we have a special interest in. So like for me, example, if I have done an interest in, like if I was writing an essay in class on something that I was really interested in, I would just keep going with it and make sure I had every single detail. And one of the biggest examples of that is with Alana. I mean, with the script writing and everything, I was blown away by what she'd written. Especially for the employment scene, like she'd done all that and I got a copy of it at like 10 o'clock at night and I'm like, what is this? This is amazing! And so it's definitely shown, like people in this group have really shown that there are real strengths to have.
I think for each member of the group, Greg's strongest point, I think, is he's got a really good attention to detail, especially with his work at the hotel he works in. John's got this amazing ability that he's able to be funny even when he's not meaning to be funny. Without even trying. So Jade's really good at her writing, which has been a really big help for our group in this project we've done. And Kira, Alana and myself are all quite into our arts, and these two in particular there's no competition between us. The two of them beat me hands down in the arts. I'm not even going to argue against that. And Kira also drew the posters for this play for today, so which really went well.
I just want to say that a strength of having autism is probably the fact that even though we've went through so many challenges and so many difficulties in the past, if it wasn't for our diagnosis, we wouldn't be sitting here in front of you all just now doing this play, and we wouldn't be able to go to all the different schools to do training sessions. So I guess it's a blessing in disguise.
Does anyone else have a question?
Well, is there any difference between kids and adults having autism?
Good question. I've had it since, well, I got diagnosed when I was 4, and to be honest, it's always been there. It's just with the right support and understanding, things have gotten easier for me.
It doesn't go away. The Asperger's or the autism doesn't go away when you become an adult, but as Kira said, with the right support, it will become easier. But I guess children and adults are a wee bit different anyway, so there's probably some different things, but most of it is the same, like the socialising, the communication, interaction, those will still be the same, but again with the right support it should get easier.
Can I just say, sorry, can I just say something on Alana's behalf? Alana said that interest can change over time, but unfortunately the biggest difference is that there aren't a lot of adult services, which is definitely where the big kind of gap is, and that can be one of the main differences.
Do you think being diagnosed when you're younger helped, or would you rather be blissfully unaware that you didn't have autism?
I'm actually really glad that I got diagnosed at a young age, and it's actually quite rare. I'm the only one in this group that was actually diagnosed before the age of like even 10 or 6 even. It's good to know, like I resented it for a really long time because I wasn't like everyone else, but putting a face to something, like putting a label to something that is the reason for why you're struggling really makes a difference, because Jade said it, that although it is just 2 words on a bit of paper, it doesn't define her, it doesn't define any of us, but what it does do is that it actually gives us an answer to where all that struggle, what that all is.
Because my son was diagnosed at 4, I didn't tell him till he was 14 because he was happy and coping. So I wondered if I've done the wrong thing by not telling him at that age.
No, I think everybody's different. It's okay, everybody's different, everybody copes different anyway. I think
As long as you've got support.
yeah, as long as you've got the support, that's the main thing.
It's just when different people are ready.
His life wouldn't be any different if he had one, I think. But he's kind of okay, he's working, he's fine, John's quite happy. But is it, have you diagnosed with everything before? Is that the difference?
Just going to say for Alana, I suppose on the other side of that, Alana was diagnosed at 19, and because of that, all the support she could have been given in school just wasn't there, and it affected finding work in later life. And actually, Alana found out for herself. It's basically like self-study by seeing a friend who's quite similar to her who got a diagnosis, and then she studied into it, and she realised that could be it, and got the diagnosis herself. So on that side, it's like, because her parents were told so often she is shy, then because that's self-doubt.
John, what age were you diagnosed?
I was diagnosed with autism at the age of 11, and I got told I had it till I was 17.
Do you think that's a good thing or bad thing?
I don't know, too long ago.
When you can't sleep, because of the things you're wearing around, like the impact of the density, what is the best approach to helping you sleep?
Do you want to answer that, Kira?
Because I am the person in the group that does not sleep, maybe get around 5 hours sleep a day. How to cope? Well, unfortunately, how do I get to sleep? Well, it can vary from day to day, because regardless of how much sleep I get, my day will not change. I still need to go to school, I still need to do stuff, you know. I think it's just trying to minimise the amount of stress that I can just throughout the day by controlling what I can of the day, and then by controlling more of what I can, it means I can allow for more change, which is less stress.
So is it less stressful the day is, the easier it is for you to sleep?
Yeah, I just have to take each day as it comes. If I sleep for 8 hours, that's great, and if I sleep for 3, I sleep for 3. It's just one of those things.
I think what will be repeated again is that as long as there's right support and that the person feels comfortable talking to whoever it is they're talking to, and able to tell them things that's worrying them, then that should hopefully solve the problem, because they'll be saying what's wrong, and then hopefully they'll go to sleep better.
Can I ask you to go into the supermarket scenario? In your opinion, is it better if a child with autism is having great difficulties there, try and put support in place and persevere by taking the child to the supermarket to almost accustomise the child, or should you just avoid the supermarket because it's too stressful?
I would say yes to that one.
How would you feel about it?
Yes to what? Avoiding or going to supermarket?
Avoid the supermarket.
John, is it what you think because you're around?
Yeah, well, I would rather go shopping. I actually go shopping when days at school, so I'd rather avoid it. I mean, because I'm just stressing the whole time. And when I'm stressed, she gets stressed, and it's just
Especially
9 out of 10 times it's something.
This is why online shopping is a marvelous thing.
When you're in the supermarket or when something happens with your child, is it, as members of the public, would you prefer it if people just ignored it, or if people actually change it off their help? How would you prefer us to actually react?
I would prefer it if people didn't just like stare at me, because that makes me uncomfortable. If people did come up and ask me, "Are you alright? Can I help you?" I would actually. I mean, I am dead sensitive, so if people come up and ask me, obviously I'm going to be in tears anyway. So I'm quite an emotional person. But I would rather people come up to me and offer help rather than stand and watch.
I was very interested. It's obviously a very broad range of spectrum, and it's really an eye-opener for myself. I know that you do great work and you take your training into schools, etc. Have you ever thought of expanding that to police stations?
We have actually. The power that we are dealing with now. We now have the power to go to the Scottish Government. We have the power in our hands. We are going to spread the word of autism across Britain. We are going to go to every school across Inverclyde. If we have to go abroad, we shall.
Ourselves, so
you see, on behalf of the emergency services, obviously from learning from my good friends here, we find that it's something that's very, very important and issues that need to be addressed. I'm not that heavy-handed, by the way, when
It's quite strong.
Yeah, you put the muscles in. But we think it's very important as an organisation to be aware of such circumstances like the scenario that you showed there, and likewise with paramedics and ambulance staff, firefighters, and all the emergency services. I think it's worth its weight in gold that we are educated by my good friends here and learn that if we're put in scenarios like that, then we know how to respond to it. And on that note, I've got a question for you. The scenario that I had with the police officers, and obviously it started to get a wee bit out of hand, thanks to myself and Hazel, but is there something that you have to carry cards sometimes where maybe it's not the opportunity that you want to say that you're autistic or on the spectrum? Do you carry cards that would make it easy for yourselves to identify that? John, go for it.
I do carry an autism awareness card with me no matter where I go, but half the time I never use it, but I still always take it just in case I do need to use it. But fingers crossed, hopefully I don't need to use it, but it's always in my pocket in case I need to use it.
Yeah, well, I think it was last summer I was part of a group. It wasn't to do with R.E.A.C.H autism, it was another group, and we actually made autism alert cards, and they were given out to quite a few people in Inverclyde. And what it is like, if the person with autism is in a situation and they feel uncomfortable, maybe they could just like get their card out of their bag or their pocket and just go up to someone and show it to them. On the cards will be things like, I have autism, I may have trouble, could you please speak more slowly, not use complicated words, things like that, and I may have trouble with eye contact. And on the back of the card was contact details as well for next of kin.
Ray, can I ask you what difference having a job has made to your life?
A big difference because I didn't think one day I'd get one because I got it through the college and I was at college for quite a while. So I thought I'd been there for about, I don't know, 6-7 years.
Do you find the confidence grows?
Yeah, it has grown, to be honest with you, and it's just continued growing since then.
Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, I had a wee cameo part, I don't know if you noticed me earlier. Vicky managed to rope Mink this because she says I've got to bigger and better things, so the BBC to give me a call to the next picture brother. And it says that in the back, it says maybe if Harry Hull goes on the side. Didn't really get that. From an employer's point of view, I was a sceptic, the same as probably some of you in the audience, with regards to the ability and competencies of somebody coming into a hospitality environment. We've done some training in support with Leanne that's in the audience, and we took Greg on in a work placement. And after the work placement I was confident enough to say, okay, let's extend that. Okay, the qualities that Greg has got is attention to detail. Okay, attention to detail means that when I go about checking stuff in the morning to make sure that staff are on their toes, I don't get people coming up saying, can I get a clean knife? Or that spoon's got a mark on it. Because when Greg cleans the cutlery, it's impeccable, and you think I've done it myself. I've got 14 members of staff that 30, I'm sorry, my deputy's here, 12 that I don't need to check up on. And Greg brings that attention to detail, and other members of my staff have actually benefited from it. And everything he does, Greg pours the perfect pint every single time. Not because he's good at it, because I trained him. When it started, Greg was what we call an extra set of hands. So in the industry, you've got 2 people working to cover all areas in the hotel. An extra set of hands would do the running with plates, do the dishes, do a bit of tidying up and stuff. After a bit of coaching and training, Greg is now my second member of staff. He does the exact same as any other employee, and if I'm being honest with you, he does it better. Okay, that's why there's none of my staff in the audience tonight. And he brings that quality with him every single time. And believe it or not, I've got a social inability to lie. So what I never do is ask him how my bum looks when I get my uniform on. On a serious note, you've got to understand that I'm a very selfish person. And in my industry, I've got bosses to answer to, and I've got targets to hit. If I had a member of staff that impacted my business, then I wouldn't do it, because it impacts me. But Greg brings an enhancement to my business. And in doing so, what I've learned, and what my managers and team have learned, is see if you take that wee bit extra time to show somebody how to do something, they'll not waste your time coming back asking you how to do it because they've not taken it in, or observed properly, or they've not understood. So that's a benefit for me. And every single person in the audience deals with issues, complications, hurdles, maybe every couple of days or once in a week and stuff like that. What kind of personality, which sort of person with values does it every single day of their life, that in my opinion shows that these guys have got a heart to a lion. That's a powerful message.